All right, hello and welcome to this brief demonstration of our Safety Trac app, where we collaborate with our clients, our assured compliance clients, to build, manage, store, and score your safety program all in one place. So let me briefly explain how this works. The Safety Trac app is actually built within a third-party project management tool called Monday.com. It's made up of these different, what are called boards. And I'm going to give you a quick review of each one of these boards. So everything begins in year one with the OSHA Health and Safety Program. Let me start by giving you, explaining how to navigate this board, and then I'll explain how we actually implement a safety program. So navigation, each one of these sections right now is collapsed, but if you click on this arrow, then you're going to see subtasks show up. There's always going to be an introduction, but each one of these sections, if you want to learn more, the way you do that is you hover over the open board, or excuse me, the open message here. When that happens, these dialog boxes open up over on the right. We have 4 tabs. We have updates, files, activity log, and info box. Everything begins with the info box. The info box is going to have an explanation for each section, and some of them are going to have links to Google Documents when you need a template. Also notice that some of these subsections have numbers next to it. If it has a number, that means there are sub items under here. And again, each one of these work the same way. You can open up and read, access these 4 tabs and so forth. Also keep in mind that we can add all your safety committee members to the board so that everyone can have access to it and collaborate on it. You can assign an owner to each one of these different areas so that people have responsibility and have been delegated responsibility to get things done. We have a status column here. It can be pending or done. We have a third option here for verifying whether something is done or not. Your consultant can do that for you, or you can do that internally. Then we talk about the type. Some of these are information only. Some of them require action. It'll tell you that. And then we have a status bar. So that's just kind of a quick tour of how you navigate the board. Let me explain how we actually implement a safety program. Again, this is all about year one. Building the program, uploading all the documents, delegating tasks, keeping track of statuses, and so forth. So at the top, we have proprietary and confidential statement. You can read that when you have time. A disclaimer statement. You can read that when you have time. This is kind of step one of building a safety program. You have to establish management commitment in a safety committee. So you come over here to the open, you come over to the info box, and we have an explanation of what this section is about. This one, we talk about how you establish management commitment. In other words, safety, it's disruptive, it's expensive. You have to pull employees off the production line to get trained. If you don't have that top-down management commitment to make sure that everything can get done, it can fall apart very quickly. And management commitment needs to come from the top of the company, ideally from the owner or C-level people at the company, director-level people. Down here, we have how you establish your safety committee. So we talk about the benefits of the safety committee over here in the info box, key elements of a safety committee, membership, roles and responsibilities, the sample agenda. So step one with our clients is we always help them establish a safety committee, and then we meet with that safety committee every month. So again, this is laying the foundations for the safety program. Here are instructions for completing a compliance risk assessment. For most of our assured compliance accounts, we've already done this for you, but we do offer step-by-step guidance on how to do that. If you want to do one internally, or for companies who opt to buy the app and want to do everything on their own, here are the instructions. So here in this section, the OSHA 1910 General Industry Standards with Written Programs and Management Requirements, this is really the meat and potatoes, so to speak, of your safety program. So these are all the standards or laws that apply to a typical manufacturer in order of priority. So number one, we have hazard communication. So this is OSHA's chemical safety, hazardous chemical safety program, control of hazardous energy, lockout, tagout, personal protective equipment, emergency action plan. And the idea is to get one program done per month. And so that by the end of year one, everything is built. So we assign the month here when we want to get it done. Also, we determine whether it's applicable or not. Mostly, these are going to be applicable to most manufacturing companies. Until we get down to the bottom, some of these things like process management safety might not apply to a company. So let me walk through in detail about how it works for hazard communication, and every other standard below falls under the same basic structure. So in step one, we figured out if it's applicable. You open this up, you go to the info box, and it's going to explain exactly what hazard communication is all about and whether or not it triggers for your company. Then you have to develop a written program. So you click on the info box over here, and we actually have a link to a Google document to be used as a template. So either you can save this in your own Google account, or download it as a Word document, and we can collaborate with your company to build the written program. Then you have to create a chemical inventory. This explains how you do that, why. We also have a template for doing that. Then you've got to gather all your safety data sheets for each one of your hazardous chemicals. You have to consolidate all your safety data sheets, give your employees direct access. You have to establish and implant chemical labeling system. Then you have to conduct employee training. And by the way, when you do conduct employee training, you can upload the files here, your sign-in sheets, to document that you've done your training. And also, by the way, moving back up here to the written program, when the written program is done, you would want to upload the file here so that you know exactly where your written program for hazard communication lives. So again, basically it's giving you step-by-step guidance and instructions for how to implement hazard communication. Your consultant will walk you through this process. And again, we have one for every one of the most common standards that apply to manufacturers. Based on your compliance risk assessment, we'll determine whether it applies or not, and we'll help you implement. I forgot to talk about the tracking. Let's talk about what the tracking looks like. So the status is either going to be pending or done. You'll notice when it says done, this is 100% finished. And as we add these up, you'll get an overall status for each one of these programs. So in this scenario, we're 88% there. But when we start, everything's pending. You'll see that number go down. So you'll actually be able to track the status of each program as we build it. And we actually have a way to track the entire board, and I'll show you that later. Pardon me. And then down here we have the 1910 standards that don't have written program requirements but may apply to your company. And again, we'll help you determine whether it's applicable or not and how to manage it. And then we have your health and safety manual templates. This is the introduction. And here's, again, a template that you can access to help start building this, and your consultant will help you with that. So I think you get the point. It goes step by step in a prioritized way, showing you what needs to be built, who to assign the work to, tracking progress, file uploads, templates, and everything else you need. Also, keep in mind, you can come over to the status dashboard for this, and it'll tell you overall what your current status is. Right now, we're just getting started in this scenario, so we're only 11% done. But as you move through each one of the programs and move it to done, this is going to show up here where you're actually at. So it's a good dashboard just to see what your overall progress is. Also, we have a countdown here. So for a new account, we're going to set this at 1 year, and it's literally going to count down as a reminder that you want to get everything done in year one. Then let's move to another board. We have the training matrix. So the training matrix, we have all the different training that applies to a company. These are in the same order that we just covered. So you have hazard communication on top. You have emergency action plan, fire prevention. Actually, lockout tagout should be up here, but either way, it's all accounted for. Some topics have to be trained; they're required. Others are just recommended. And then we determine by department at your company who needs to get trained on what. So some companies want to train all their employees on all topics. Others want to delegate and assign by department. So we can do it either way, but this is where we track who needs to get trained on which topics. And then we have our inspection reports. So the way we break this down is by month. Every time we do an inspection, we're going to come in here and we're going to manually tell you how many deficiencies we found. And then during the monthly safety committee meetings, we're going to talk about how many were fixed. So it's going to tell you what percentage are completed, and so that we can track what is going on. And then we're going to have a link here to the third-party inspection software that we use, so that you can, the safety committee and members of your company can actually go and look at what these deficiencies are. But we want to make this a manual process, so we actually track what the hazards are and what has been fixed. And then we discuss that each month in the safety committee meetings. And also in the safety committee meetings, we track the overall progress, especially during year one. Then we also have a compliance calendar. So this actually kicks in after year one. So once everything is built, now we move into maintenance and management mode. And so month one is going to be hazard communication. This is where you're going to have to review your HAZCOM program to make sure it's up to date. So review your chemical inventory to make sure you have any new chemicals included. Make sure that you have all the safety data sheets. You review the written program to see if it needs to be updated. And you conduct employee training. So again, after year one, we go into maintenance and management mode, and everything that needs to be tracked on an annual basis to keep you in compliance. Here are the monthly EHS committee responsibilities and then the agenda here. And these are monthly recurring tasks, things that have to be checked on a monthly basis. Safety data sheets, PPE, make sure everything's stocked, inspect emergency equipment, and so forth. So the final thing that I want to show you is our compliance scorecard. So this consolidates all the different boards that we just looked at and gives you a status. So this is only for year one. For year one, we want to look at the OSHA Health and Safety Program, this board over here that we covered at the start. Again, you remember that it showed 11.4% complete. So you can log in here again. Management can log in here. The safety committee can log in here. You can look and see where you're at, what is done and what is pending. And you can actually drill down to the owners, so the owners know exactly what they need to do. Then down here, we track the inspection. So I showed you the inspection report a minute ago. So we track by month how many total deficiencies there were, how many have been fixed. So you can always see if there's incomplete items here that still need to be fixed. When we do these inspections, it's important to track the corrective actions. And if they're not getting fixed, you can come here and you can see that, and we can talk about that during the safety committee meetings so that you know what needs to be done. All right, so we covered what the year one compliance scorecard looks like. Now I want to cover, once you get beyond year one and go into maintenance and management mode, we go to what we call the maintenance clients compliance scorecard. So very similar to the other one, we have the OSHA Health and Safety Program. Obviously, if you're a maintenance client, this should be up closer to 100% done. If it's not, then you can always drill down to see what's left. Down here, here's the inspection scorecard. We talked about that in the previous section, so you know what that means already. But here in the middle, this is where we're tracking the compliance calendar. Remember, we have the compliance calendar over here where we have those monthly items that need to be tracked. You're reviewing each one of the standards every month. You start with HAZCOM, then you go to lockout, tagout, work your way down, and then you have to do the monthly recurring tasks, and you have to have your safety committee meeting. So you're going to track, the status of everything in your compliance calendar, and this is going to give you a high-level understanding of where you are. So in January, for example, or month one, it could be January, it could just be any other month that is month one for you after you've completed year one. It's going to show all the tasks that need to get done. There's 22 of them. In this scenario, only 12 have been completed. Here we haven't showed anything completed yet, so there's nothing to compare to. But again, once you go into maintenance and management mode, this is the scorecard that's going to show you where you're at to make sure you're keeping up with the ongoing maintenance and management of your safety program. So that concludes our quick demonstration. We'll have, if you enroll in the program, we have more detailed work instructions on how to work everything and how to implement everything. But again, this is Safety Trac, where you're able to build, manage, store, and score your safety program all in one place. One thing that I forgot to mention, the storage part. So getting back to the health and safety program, once we build this program for your company, getting back to the main table here, and you start uploading all the written programs, all the training records, everything. This is gonna, in other words, this is gonna function as a document control system, a storage system for your safety program, so that everybody knows exactly where to find everything. Your HAZCOM program, your lockout tagout program, all your records and everything will be stored in here after the program is built. All right, thanks for watching, and feel free to contact us if you have any questions about how the app works and how you can enroll in the program.